What's up everybody, it's CJ Plays here, and I'm back with another Rockwood Island renovation video. So the house that we're going to be furnishing today is called the Tulip. It is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. It's a little bit on the bigger side because there's like 3 stories in this house. However, I only really use 2 of the bedrooms. This house is a little bit interesting because it actually has a screened-in porch area, which is something that I don't really see all too often on houses in The Sims, especially in The Sims 3. So I was like, what the heck could I put in here? So I decided to like make this house kind of like a nautical inspired house because listen, the outside literally gave off Cape Cod vibes. Okay, so when I think of Cape Cod, I think of the ocean, fish, I think of fall time as well. So I kind of wanted this to kind of be like a tropical house. Now the family that lives here, more specifically the dad that lives here, is obsessed with fish. Now, I think it was one of those things where like it was a mild interest that turned into a hobby and now it's a complete lifestyle. Like, or honestly an obsession if I'm being more specific. The dad here loves fish, y'all. I'm saying like, I would like to believe that he's a fish breeder. Like he quit his job. He was probably in the business career. He literally quit to become a fish breeder. Like that is the story. Like literally as I was like furnishing this house, the stories kept changing because at first I was like, oh, he could be like a fisherman, but I was like, nah, CJ, this man loves fish so much that he would not even want to catch them, even for sport. You know what I'm saying? Like just the idea of catching a fish and like even just releasing it or putting the fish through any like form of distress, he's like, I can't do it. So for him, it's all about looking, breeding, finding fish online to buy. He's very much like, you know, an observer, if that makes sense. So it's one of those things I think where like his wife is supportive, like she's like happy for him, but she doesn't really get too deep into his fish hobbies, you know what I'm saying? Like she's learned things over the years, like, you know, the different species of fish and maybe how to take care of different types of fish, but she doesn't really like care that much about the fish. So originally I was gonna like have this house have a fish bowl or a fish tank in every room, but then I was like, no, that's way too much. Also, The Sims 3 limited me a little bit. I didn't know this, but I thought that you could put a fish tank on a desk in The Sims 3, and maybe some desk you can, but the ones that I wanted to use, you couldn't do it. So I think you can only put fish tanks on like maybe some dressers and maybe like nightstands and stuff like that, or countertops. But like legit, I was trying to put fish on desk and it wouldn't even work. The Sims 3 said no. And I know there's like ways with mods to do it, but I just didn't feel like fiddling with it today, if I'm just being honest. So I was like, if I can't put a fish tank in every room, I'll at least have a whole entire room dedicated to fish, which we'll get to that room in a little bit as well. So like I said, it is a family that lives here. So it is a dad, a mom, and they have a son. He likes fish, but I think it's one of those things where like the dad likes fish, so it's kind of influencing the son to also like fish, if that makes sense. But I feel like probably when the son gets older, he probably won't like fish that much. I don't know. But in terms of the actual speed build, I kind of just talked over everything. But in terms of the speed build, though, as you can see, we have like our little foyer already done. We are moving on to the first bathroom. So I didn't really change any floor plans with this house. Sometimes I do if I feel like it could be done a little bit differently, but I didn't change anything this time around. So the bathroom has like this interesting angle piece, but I was like, you know what, this would be a good challenge to try to build around it. I was trying my best too to kind of like mix and match different styles, I guess, because I feel like whenever I do a nautical home in The Sims, it's always blue. Maybe if there's brown, it's like a light brown or a dark brown. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I kind of feel like this house is a little bit older, if that makes sense. I don't know why, but I've been really into older houses lately with my like interior design. I don't know. But I kind of wanted this house to kind of reflect like an older nautical styled house, so the wallpaper is very outdated, especially in the home office. So right beside where we are, there is another room. Now this could technically be another bedroom if you needed it to be, but I made it into an office and the wallpaper is so bad, y'all. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So right now we're kind of just putting the finishing touches on the bathroom. I wanted to use that other shower tub combo in here, but it was just too big, so I was like, why don't we just use this other one? So moving on, originally I was gonna have the kitchen be in this little corner area. However, it was kind of impossible to have for me at least, to have a really nice kitchen in this space, because like whereas in The Sims 4 the countertops have different pieces that you can kind of like put together and they all fit, especially like with corner pieces, The Sims 3 doesn't have anything like that. We only have the basic counter. So even if I use move objects and like try to move it, it was still gonna clip outside of the house. So I was like, why don't we just move the kitchen on the opposite side of the room? Now the kitchen is maybe not my favorite area in the house, but I like it enough, if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of outdated, but in a nice way, if that makes sense. Like, it looks like it belongs here, to me at least. The tile probably, like, if I could change one thing, it would probably be the tile, but something just kept telling me to keep it. Like, I know it's very outdated, but I like the way it looks. Also, now that I think about it, I just want to say thank y'all, because last week I was really thinking that a lot of people were gonna hate the kitchen in that other house. If you didn't see the video, I can link down below, but last week I did a furnishing video for a retired magician sim, or like a performer sim, and the kitchen I thought was gonna get a lot of hate, but it didn't. A lot of y'all really liked it, so I'm glad that y'all liked it, because I liked it too. I just was kind of like, it's one of those things where I was like, I like it, but will other people like it? You know what I'm saying? And I kind of feel like, too, sometimes in The Sims, you get kind of used to using the same objects over and over again, or like you have your favorite objects or your favorite rug or whatever, and you just use it a lot, and I don't know about y'all, but I sometimes feel like my houses all kind of look the same after a while, because I use the same stuff over and over. So I like to use this series, and like, I guess Rosewood Park as well, but I like to use these kind of series and stuff to kind of like do things that I normally wouldn't do, if that makes sense, and just try to like try different things, because it's nice to have your preferences, but you can always add to that, if that makes sense, you know? So for example, I ended up putting like some brick wallpaper along the staircase instead of using like the normal wallpaper, and I kind of liked it. I don't know, it kind of broke up some of that wallpaper. Like, I don't know what it is about this house. Maybe it's because I use a lot of debug lights, but this house kind of gives off reshade vibes, if that makes sense, or G-shade vibes, if that makes sense. Like, it was giving very much filter, like Tumblr house. I do use a preset, but like, I didn't change it, if that makes sense. So like, I don't know. I think it was just like the debug lights in here. But moving on, we are over here in the little living room section. I wanted to put an aquarium in here as well as a plant, and I was trying to like figure out what TV to use, because y'all know I use the same 2 TVs in every house just about, or maybe the same 3. The one from the base game, the one from late night, and the one from 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff. So I was like, CJ, we have more than those TVs. Yes, let's just use another one. And since this space wasn't that big, I was like, oh, we could use one of the vertical TVs. So I ended up using the one from the high-end loft stuff, because I thought that would look a little bit better, especially when I recolored it, and I paired it up with those nautical chairs from the Sims 3 store. I use that table. I think it's like the one with nature set, I want to say. So I used the table. I kind of like using it for my nautical bills too, but I ended up using that in here, and I thought the living room turned out pretty nicely. Like, it's kind of like a small, tight squeeze, but I really like it. So moving on, this is that office that I was telling y'all about with the really outdated wallpaper. So like I was saying, I was trying to like get out of my comfort zone with the furnishing, you know, so I wanted to go for like something a little bit different in here. Instead of using like, you know, the same wood floor, I ended up using some carpet. So I kind of made it like a blue color. The wallpaper was a process. Okay, it really was. I had to pause my recording, play around with it, start recording again, then I didn't like it. It was a whole process, but in the end, I went back to that blue striped wallpaper. Now, it's not my favorite, but to me it kind of works, especially since this is like an outdated house anyway, you know. I didn't put a bed in this room like I normally do for offices, because I was like, no, you know, this is like a family of 3. If you want to and you download this house, you can definitely put a bed in here if you want to. Like, y'all can change this house however you want to, I don't really care. But I didn't put a bed in here, so instead I ended up putting a really big bookshelf. It's one of the ones from Roaring Heights, and then this is the moment when I realized that you could not put a fish tank on a desk. At first I was like, oh, maybe it's because I have a computer. No, you just can't put one up there. So I decided to kind of squeeze one in the corner of this room. You know, like, I feel like the husband and wife had like an agreement where like he could not put fish tanks in every single room. You know, like, it's one of those things where like she loves fish, you know, she likes them, but like, no, she doesn't want to see fish in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's kind of sneakily putting fish bowls everywhere to like eventually put fish in the other rooms of the house, but she hasn't quite caught on yet, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much everything for the downstairs. So moving upstairs, I wanted to actually put a stair railing, because I noticed that a lot of the houses in this world, they don't really have upper stair railings, so I decided to just use one from the base game. And then later on, I was trying to figure out what I could put in this hallway, and I was like, CJ, a fish tank and a bookshelf. So I put a fish tank like right by where the stair is, and then on the other end of the hallway I put one of those little small bookshelves from the base game. And now we move on to the bedrooms. So I knew that I wanted the parents to have an ensuite bathroom for their bedroom, so I decided to make this other room for the kid. So I wanted this one to, of course, be nautical, but it just took me a while to figure out the floor plan. I kept moving stuff around. I was like, this doesn't look right, and then I kind of settled on something that I actually did like. I used the nautical bed from the Generations pack. I also, of course, put a fish tank in here because I was like, why wouldn't the kid have a fishbowl? You know what I mean? I was also inspired by some of this wallpaper. Now, the wallpaper, it comes with, like, I think it's the nautical living set. It's one of the nautical sets on the Sims 3 store, but it comes with wallpaper, and I was like, oh, I never used this wallpaper ever for anything. For one, it's kind of hard to find. I have to like go to the miscellaneous tab and then I can find it in Build and Buy, but I was like, oh, we can use it, and it has like this little wave design on it, like the ocean. I was like, oh, that would fit perfectly in here. I almost changed the flooring in here for carpet, but I ended up keeping the flooring. Now just recoloring this dresser. This one comes, I think, from the nursery set. It's one of the nursery sets, but I don't ever really use the dresser all too often, or the chair that comes with it, so I was like, oh, we could definitely use that in here. I also put like a little like robot poster up in here as well. Of course, there's a lot of fish and nautical things in here, so we have like a life preserve, we have the swordfish painting. I also put like this other fish wall decoration that I found in the Build and Buy catalog, and then I also wanted to put like a little book bag in here as well, because, you know, when the kid gets home from school, they can just kind of hang their stuff up on the rack. That's pretty much everything for this room. I like how this one turned out, honestly. I think this is, I mean, of course I knew that I wanted this to be super nautical, but I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. Oh, I also used that little toy box from the Supernatural pack because the first swatch has a boat on it, and I was like, oh, that will look really perfect in here. Oh, and I also used that surfboard lamp in here as well. So now we move on to the second bathroom. So this bathroom is supposed to be for the kid, if that makes sense, because the parents have their own ensuite bathroom, so I was like, this one could be for the kid. So I used the Generations wallpaper. Of course, I recolored it. I used the same tile that's outside. This tile, by the way, comes with Late Night. And then I wanted to use this tub because it looked so nice and it kind of matched with the wallpaper. But I was like, no, this bathroom is not that big, so I had to settle for a nice fancy shower instead. And then I wanted to use the Bayside sink, but then I was like, but then I also wanted the mirror to go right by it. But then I noticed that the window was in the way, so I was like, how is this going to work? So now you'll see that I'm really fiddling around with the bathroom. At first I was going to make the sink be in the center, but then I was like, that does just not look right. We're going to have like a really weird empty space. So what I ended up doing was just deleting that window just so I could have the mirror be above the sink. To me, that just looks better in my opinion, and there's already 2 windows in the bathroom, right? So I thought it was a nice compromise. So moving on, this is the parents' bedroom. Honestly, this bedroom isn't super fish themed. Again, the wife had to step in at some point and say, like, you gotta stop. There is one fishbowl. There is a nightstand, and it does have a fishbowl. I just had to. But there's not, like, a gigantic fish tank in here. I mean, honestly, this room isn't that big to begin with. So I ended up using the bed from the Seasons pack, and then I also used the base game dresser. I paired up the bed with the Seasons nightstand. There's that fish tank I was telling you all about. And then I was trying to find, like, some artwork to put, so I found one from the base game. I also used one of the base game mirrors in here as well. Oh yeah, we do have that little like nautical lamp on the dresser. I was gonna use like this pet's mirror at first, but I was like, that doesn't really fit the vibe, so I used the one from the base game instead. And then I also use that nice base game rug that I always use in like every build. Honestly, that to me is like the best rug in the entire game, because whereas a lot of the rugs from the Sims 3 store, you can change the color, you can't change the design of it. Say for example, it has a floral design, you can change the color, you just can't get rid of the flowers, you know? So this rug from the base game to me is the best one, because you can change just about everything, and I love that. Moving on, this is the ensuite bathroom, and I just gotta say, I love the color scheme. The blue color of this tile is like one of my favorite shades of blue. It's like a navy blue, but it's just so nice to look at. Of course, I had to use the nautical design for the tile. I just had to. I want to say that this tile comes from Ambitions. Y'all know I had to. Like, come on now. It's a nautical style house. Dad loves fish. Okay, he loves the beach. He loves the ocean. I just had to. But I ended up using that tub that I wanted to use in the other bathroom. I also used the same Bayside sink, and then I also used a nice fancy toilet in here as well, because I just had to. And I want to say that that toilet is the matching toilet that goes with the tub, I want to say, because they look very similar. I could be wrong about that though. And then I was trying to like use this rug and match the color of the rug to the wallpaper, and it took me a while, but I think I got something that was kind of close to it. I tried to drag the design of the color over on the rug, but it didn't work, so I think I got the color right, but I don't know. But that's pretty much everything for the bathroom. So now you'll see that I'm trying to like go back and add some fish tanks here and there. So we put a fish tank in the hallway. This fish tank comes with one of the Vegas sets on the Sims 3 store, like Las Vegas, you know. And then that is that other bookshelf I was telling y'all about. But now we go on to honestly one of my favorite rooms in the house, if I'm being honest. So this is like the dad's aquarium. So remember how I was saying that his wife was like, you can't put fish in every room of the house? So, you know, since he wasn't allowed to do that, what he did do was dedicate an entire floor of the house to fish. So this is basically his little private aquarium. I was trying to use a lot of the different fish tanks that I've, for one, never really used, and also didn't really use in other rooms of the house so far. There's a good selection of fish tanks or aquariums in The Sims 3, so I was trying to use some of the ones that I never ever use. Like, for example, the steampunk one. I don't even know if I've ever used that one, honestly. There's also like the tiki one, the futuristic one. We have this mid-century one as well. So I was trying to like use a bunch of them up here. And then I was like, what else can I add in here? So like, as you'll see, that there's like this really weird, narrow, like crawl space. And I was like, what can I put there? So at first I was going to put a plant to kind of block it off. But then I was like, no, the plant is a little bit too big. And then I was like, maybe I could put a fish tank in there. But I was like, no. So I just left it alone. So if you can find a use for it, I mean, feel free to. I know I could probably just like build a wall and just kind of close it off, but I didn't really want to do that. So I don't know. I didn't really have a use for that like crawl space, you know. But I did put a desk up here. So, you know, I like to imagine that the dad has a computer desk up here. He's constantly looking for fish to buy or like trying to find different fish to breed. So yeah, this is again his little private sanctuary. You know, he's usually up here. If you can't see him, you know, in any of the other rooms of the house, he's probably upstairs. Again, he works from up here. He takes care of his fish. Honestly, I should have put a bed in that crawl space. Literally, if the crawl space was a little bit bigger, I would have definitely put a bed up here. He would probably eat, sleep, and live up here, if I'm being honest. But that's pretty much everything for the entire house, y'all. I love the way that this one turned out. This one was probably one of my favorite ones so far, if I'm being honest, but I kind of feel like I say that a lot with a lot of the other builds, so I don't really know. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this video. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I am going to leave this house linked down below as well, so you can go and download it. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this video. I will see y'all in the next one. Please be sure to stick around for the screenshots, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Thanks for watching!